Hey everybody, I'm Jason and welcome to From Tree to Lumber, a channel devoted to the projects I choose to tackle with my home sawmill. A friend from work had to take down a black walnut tree from his property and he asked if I could cut it up for him. I haven't done any walnut yet, so I was really keen to give it a shot. He didn't have a machine to load them, so I asked him to cut them into 6-foot lengths to make handling at least manageable. That gave us 3 trunk sections ranging from about 16 inches down to a foot in diameter. Although that's not a particularly big tree in the world of walnuts, it is the perfect size for my Frontier OS18. I talked to him about his expectations, and he doesn't really have a specific project in mind. He just didn't want the wood to go to waste, and he'll figure something out when it's dry. That's something I can totally appreciate. The first log up on the deck is the lowest portion of the trunk. It's really nice and straight and should yield some beautiful clear boards. He asked that I slab everything to a thickness of 2 inches and leave it live edge if possible. Because the tree is on the smaller side, there isn't really that much of the dark heartwood to chase, so I'm going to try to preserve the lighter sapwood, and he'll play that up in whatever he decides to make. Okay, let's get to cutting. Unfortunately, I'll have to square up the edges on this first log because my mill just can't handle the full width. Walnut apparently is quite hard. I don't expect this will be a problem for the next 2 though. Happy with the lumber that I got from this log. I just love the contrast between the heart and sapwood. I have to say, it's really surprising how hard this stuff is. I had to feed the blade through it quite slowly, even slower than the hard maple I cut last week. I really wasn't expecting that. Maybe I'll put a new blade in for the next one, even though this one really isn't that old. Log number 2 is a little different than the first one. As we move higher into the tree, there's going to be a lot more limbs to contend with. the grain patterns should look a lot more interesting this time around. Alright, that's a new blade and it's not doing any better than the last one. Once again, I really didn't expect this, but I guess that's just the way it is. And more beautiful lumber from log number 2. Interesting how that wood turns green once it hits the fresh air. Thankfully it clears up in a day or two, but man, the first time I saw it I was like, what's going on here?
As you could probably tell, it's a few weeks later now. You know, we've got our first snowfall. It's hung around for a little while, but that's not going to stop me. I had to get to some other things, bring some firewood and whatnot, but I'm back to the walnut. So this piece here, I'm not going to lie to you, has been kind of confounding me for a little while because it's such a weird shape, and I know there's all kinds of really cool stuff in there. It's got really, you know, really kind of funky grain patterns. It's not round at all. Lots of old limbs, and up here there's a crotch that's got to have some cool stuff in it. Although, you know, I was considering cutting it in half, and then I could probably get the most out of this log. But the more I think about it, number one, this sawmill does not handle short pieces very well, and I have not really come up with a decent system yet to handle short pieces. Someday I probably will. And the other thing is, I think everything I want is more or less in the same line anyway, so I can just, I think I'm just going to cut that little piece off right there, and I suspect that's going to look pretty cool. And then I'm going to roll it over 90 degrees, or 180 degrees, I guess, from there, and I should be able to cut it more or less straight and get some really nice slabs off of this. It'll have different figure and different locations, and it's probably going to be good for shorts, but I think for handling purposes it's best to leave it in one big long length. Wow.
Turns out the shape of this log makes it just a touch too wide to cut easily. The only way to finish the cut is to jockey the log back and forth, and I really don't like doing this. It can't take very much to bind that blade and derail it, which is money out of my pocket, right? I think it's best to narrow the tight spots and just get it settled into a perfect spot for one easy pass. This wood is absolutely gorgeous. Check out how light it is right now, though. I mean, compare it to the stuff I cut about 15 minutes ago. It's amazing how fast it darkens. As expected, this log has some really funky grain. Whatever he ends up making with this stuff, it's definitely going to have character. I'm kind of partial to these small bits, though. They're really unique, and I can see working them into some cool projects. Alright, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I did making it. If so, hit that like button and go ahead and subscribe. There's a lot more coming. Thanks for now.